Genshin lore questions that keep me up at night. What is the Spiral Abyss? Does the Traveler canonically know what the Spiral Abyss is, or is this just an in-game mechanic that doesn't have any proper story inclusions at the moment, because it was never referenced in any Archon quests? Do we just have this random portal in the middle of absolute nowhere Mondstadt that connects straight to the Abyss, and for some reason has multiple chambers, and has the fake sky, real sky? I don't know what that thing is, by the way. Why did Celestia destroy the Dragonspine civilization? Why did they shut it all down with the Skyfrost nail? I mean, it was never really explained why they decided to destroy the civilization. Maybe it was because they were becoming a little too advanced, or maybe they just did something. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's in the boxes, the mysterious boxes that you get in the past, or maybe I just can't remember why they decided to nuke the Dragonspine civilization. Was it ever confirmed, or was it all just theorized? How much does the Traveler know about Genshin's story? Do they know less because they don't have access to character stories and artifact lore, like how they don't know Sonora is something known as the Crimson Witch of Flames? Or do they know more about Celestia since they're extraterrestrial entities with interstellar travel? Does Venti know who the Traveler was? Or at least had an idea of who or what they were related to? Does he know that the Traveler came 500 years ago? I know he knows that the Traveler isn't native to Tevat, but does he know that the Traveler and the siblings are basically centuries old in all technicality? Not to mention that their sibling is part of the Abyss Order. Will Albedo ever be non-event relevant? Man's whole career plot is happening outside of the main story, which is pretty sad since his Among Us arc was one of the most interesting events in the whole game. But if you don't play the events or watch it on YouTube, you'll never even realize you missed such an amazing character moment. What's even more daunting is that if he suddenly becomes relevant in the new chapters and breaks Mondstadt apart in the Archon quests, new players will have no idea that he was built up in the past. What are the other worlds? What even is another world? When Albedo talks about other worlds, does he mean realms? Like he says that he has a seed that came from another world at one time. But the question is, where in the world did he get it? And if he has access to other worlds, does that mean that certain entities in Tevat have access to extraplanar travel? Or is his definition of world just limited to something like Enkanomiya or Khaenri'ah? What are waypoints? Like the structures themselves. Why can't regular people use it, but the Traveler can? Also, where in the world do they come from? And no, Vision Wielders can't use them either. According to the portable waypoint, Vision Wielders can use the gadgets, but the actual waypoints are not fully understood yet. According to the waypoints lore, people on the continent see them as ancient gimmicks. They are accustomed to their existence despite not knowing their purpose. To the foreign traveler, however, their function becomes quite apparent. So, what, they're just rocks? Does that mean that we always use them canonically, but everyone just decides that we disappear? Were the Archons forced to fight in Celestia's war against Khaenri'ah? And also, what did Khaenri'ah do to invoke such divine retribution? What is the conversion rate of time in the different realms? The Abyss has a longer time than Tevat, so does that mean that if the Abyss sibling stays there for 3 months, they're only 3 days older in Tevatian times? What would their age be? Also, how old really is the Traveler by Tevatian standards? The Traveler says that their old world had longer nights and days. Why don't Scaramouche and Tartaglia wear their masks on their faces? One of them even wears it on his hat. With Tartaglia, we did see him wear it by just pulling it down his face, but I can't fathom the idea of Scaramouche pulling down the entire hat. What can the Fatui really do against the gods of Celestia? If the Primordial One and their 4 other shades can control time, space, and create new worlds entirely, what is keeping Snezhnaya from becoming Khaenri'ah 2.0? The Tsaritsa better have some god weapon somewhere there if she wants to test the heavenly principles, because the last time someone tried to disobey the Sustainer, they became an RPG protagonist. What is Bennett? Like, Bennett's birth into this world is one of the most confusing things. He was found in the middle of an apocalyptic end-of-the-world scenario, and he has the power of bad luck. Bad luck that can affect other people. In a world of fortune, astrology, and the stars, you would think his conundrum is more divine than he lets on. Does Xiao have his own Serenity Pot? That's adorable if that's the case. Who is Alice and why does she have access to extraplanar travel? Why can she go to other worlds? And also, because she knows about the KFC lore, does that mean that she's been to our world, or at least the equivalent of Earth, just so that she could see the Kentucky Fried Chicken Man? How does Ito have exclusive tickets to a meet and greet with Miss Hina? Who is he meeting? How will Goro react to the news of being yassified? And also, it's a personal meeting. How in the world is that going to work out if Goro himself doesn't know he's Miss Hina? Why didn't A use the Gnosis for herself? Why would she make a separate vessel to house the Gnosis? The Husk of Opulent Dreams states that the heart found a home in Mount Yogu, which means that it was under the care of Yaimiko for the longest time. Not even the Raiden Shogun puppet used it. I know A says that she doesn't have any use for it, but Yaimiko also doesn't seem to have one either. I could see why A would think that the tree needs the Gnosis, but at the same time, wouldn't it just be safer to keep it inside of A while A was inside a plane of Euthymia? A plane that is practically inaccessible unless they have direct connections to A's mind? It's possible that A just doesn't want to use the Gnosis because of other reasons then. And if so, what are those reasons for not wanting to use the Gnosis? Venti also seems willing to just throw his away. Are the Archons just stealing elemental energy from the world? There used to be creatures called the Seven Sovereigns and bishops that came from the elemental realm. And so far, we know that the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles uses a cubish type of magic, and Istaroth, a shade of the primordial one, uses time manipulation. If Celestia came after elemental creatures already existed in this world, does that mean Celestia is seeping existing life energy? And if that's the case, is that what ley lines are? Are the demon gods like Woba, Gija, Morax, Beelzebul, Baal, and everyone else just byproducts of residual elemental energy given form? Does that mean their power was never really theirs to begin with? Did the Archon War have any specifications? According to an Inazuman book, even A had to sacrifice her life so that Makoto gets to ascend. Makoto just brought her back through some mysterious means, and A became the Kagemusha. This was also solidified with how the Raiden Shogun puppet says that she will be the new Kagemusha since A is the Archon. But on the other hand, why were gods like Guoba able to live peacefully with Rex Lapis? Why couldn't A just have done that as well? A was the god of eternity while Makoto was the god of transience. So what were the regulations of the Archon War? How much does Tartaglia know about Khaenri'ah in the Abyss? Does he go back into the Abyss to train his foul legacy every now and then? Or was his initial jump pre-Fatui the only time that he went into the Abyss? He met a woman named Skirk that taught him a way of the foul legacy, but did she tell him about Abyss Heralds that also share a similar hydropower? Do the Fatui know who the Traveler really is? I thought the low-ranking members do, but what about the Harbingers? Do they just see the Traveler as a regular human that can control more than one element? Or are they also looking into who the Traveler really is? Honestly, now that I think about it, the Fatui Harbingers wouldn't really be all that shocked to hear a creature can control more than one element without a vision. In this world, it's not a bad hypothesis to think that the Traveler just has alchemical or mechanical enhancements. I mean, hydromancy and pyromancy can be studied without a vision. Mona learned her art without a vision. So a person being able to control the elements without a vision does cause some alarm, but it isn't completely unheard of. What I wonder is if they know the Traveler has any connections with Celestia, or at least has a grudge with Celestia for trapping them here. How much do the Fatui Harbingers know about the Traveler's true power? Are they even curious? I genuinely wonder how the Fatui Harbingers will react when they find out they've been attacking something that's not only an enigma to this world, but can and has rivaled the other Harbingers and gods in terms of power. Honestly, if the Traveler has access to the elemental power of Tevat just in its totality, it's almost impossible to think characters that only mimic a fraction of that power can hold up to them. And we know they're only getting stronger with time and knowledge. So if the Fatui really want to have a grudge with something that could rival the Adepti or even the Archons in terms of strength, I wonder what precautions they took. But yes, those are all my curiosities about Genshin Impact's lore. Enjoy. Maybe they got answered already, I just don't know. But these are just questions that make me wonder at night.